Okay, so we're gonna resume. I call you on stage Lorenzo Osti, who is the president of CP Company. Is there a video? No, no video. Welcome, welcome, Lorenzo. In this second part of this morning, we're gonna talk about sports a little bit, to a certain extent, after talking about fashion. Well, our starting point, your family name, Osti, you are the son of the founder of this company, of this brand, and then this history, this success story, so to say. Can you talk about that? Yes, I was born and I grew up in this sector thanks to the work of my father. But I did something completely different. I dealt with the web, as we called it at that time, so branding communication. My father founded the company in 1951, so we are going to celebrate the 50th anniversary this year. And then he sold it in 1994. Well, our destinies were like separated. In 2015, I saw this brand which was being sold. I was working with a Chinese businessman. I made this suggestion, and he was really enthusiastic. And together with my communication agency, we were carrying out some important projects. He was passionate about my father's work. He went to Italy, came to Italy. We set up archives just to bring forward this kind of heritage of my father. 2015, so this was the beginning of my adventure. Well, it was quite difficult, hard work, so to say. But the first thing I did when I arrived was approaching this work with my tools, communication and marketing tools. It was my first time in the company, in a company, well, a fashion company. Well, where are you based? We have an international structure. The headquarters are in Hong Kong. The branch which is responsible for the brand is in Switzerland. Then we also have two research centers for development as well, in Italy and in China, in Haizu. Sorry for interrupting you, no worries. Well, I try to understand why this brand with the 50 years of history, which has always performed very well when it comes to manufacturing products. So this brand performed quite well at some specific moments, but not that well in other moments. So there were ups and downs. Just to make it short, this dealt with the ability of this brand to, so to say, understand and interpret the intentions of our society. Well, it's quite a strange brand. There is an affection relationship, CP Company. There are some people for whom this brand is very dear, so to say, and appreciated. And it works properly when it's able to interact with consumers. It happened like twice or three times in its history. And it's happening again in the 70s. This was my interpretation of the facts. At that time, there was a generation in the 70s, in the 60s, there was a generation which was against the generation of their parents, and the rules were very well determined, but also clothing was very, very stiff. There were hippies, 68, 77 in Bologna. This brand was born in Bologna in the 70s. Well, in a moment characterized by very strong social tensions. And my father, I think he was not aware of that. I was not there. I wasn't born yet. But he started so to say, he started working with all this tension. And also the idea of our garments, for example, at that time, 1 million lira to buy a coat which was already outdated. Well, but also in terms of forms, etc. Well, my father was inspired by military clothing. And at the beginning, he started creating items in that direction. So at that time, there was a suit for working for example, for Sundays and other different clothes, and he started idealizing all that, and he started turning all that into sportswear. So CB company, well, this is the sportswear, the origin of Italian sportswear. Many people say that. I'm not the one who says that. I don't want to bore you with all these semiotic or branding related remarks. I was working in England when he was working in England when he got in touch with a particular community, and I had kind of a confirmation when I took a look at Moreno Ferrario, who was a designer, in 2000, I guess, and we launched it back recently. We were worried about this new millenary and the kind of a utopia. What did Moreno Ferrari did? What would do? He created 10 different items for CP company, which were completely different from what had been done in nylon. They were black, and the line was urban protection. This was the name of the line. It should be kind of a protection against the threats in the urban environment, one with alarm, anti-smoke mask. And I was talking to him and I asked, why did you do something like that, and why did this strategy works so well? And I tried to get back to the origin of CP, so to understand the tensions in our society and try to re-suggest them in the clothing sector. Something similar is happening now because we had a very strong growth, but I haven't understood. I haven't understood yet. 80 million turnover, right? Yeah, I don't know the official figures because the main company is also listed. In 2015 we started setting goals, and next year we will exceed 100 million. Well, you have never stopped, right? Everyone is waiting for what is going to happen, but we don't know yet, right? No, we don't know it. One of the topics was about skills, and this is one of the topics of our panel today. Well, next to and besides all the skills we need for manufacturing products, communication, etc., we also need skills to understand our society, so to understand what is going on. Because our society is changing so fast. Gen Z, for example, all that is changing our paradigms. So we want to set up a permanent observatory that is able not just to see and watch the market, but also culture, see how culture changes. All of these cultural changes allow you to understand what is relevant, what is significant, and what should be changed, how our dialogue should change. For us to listen to other people, this is also the basis of every dialogue. So a cultural analysis to start back with the product, to restart with the product. Yes, exactly. If you are able to bring what you do, for example, sweaters and suits, etc., but this applies to each and every brand. If you bring whatever you do and what people feel into your brand, then there is a kind of dialogue, because the audience, customers are the brand, and this is also the key for today's branding. I mean, today we see that there are some new brands that are becoming more and more human, and they are becoming like people with characteristics, with an ethics, values. So in my opinion, people are relying more and more on brands, and it's not just about consuming products, but it's kind of a leading idea, and this also applies to interpersonal relationship. We need reliability, we need trust. So the topic of sustainability, this is also a must have, because we all know about, above all, new generations, we know how important this topic is. If you are not honest, if you can't commit and be committed to doing that, you are not a partner of those people. I think it's very interesting. Now, let's move on to something different. Well, let's come to, you have a Chinese partner, right? And is he silent or not? Or does he make a good contribution? No. When things are going well, we are very satisfied with this partner. I'm very glad to have this partner for two reasons. He is an industrial partner. He's a big manufacturer, distributor of brands in China, and he's really passionate about products. For our company, and we are a product company, it is important to see people that are really interested in how clothes are made, for example, a stitching, a sewing, a seam, etc., rather than EBITDA and all these figures. This is one of the challenges that we have. We want to control distribution in general. We are not a billion company, we are still very small, but we were in front of these opportunities. So saying no to billion of orders, and this is something that has quite a big weight. Well, we need to protect things. We want to do what we can do well, and then the results and outcomes will come. We are passionate about what we do. We also are knowledgeable about our industry. Well, from the financial point of view, considering the success you have in the last 5 years, from 8 to 80 million, has this been reflected in your position on the stock exchange in Hong Kong, yes or no? I don't know, because I don't think so, actually, because the group is much bigger, so this company is just a part of it. For the future, since you were talking about anthropomorphism of the brand, so the fact that it's becoming human, well, let's talk about this from a broader perspective. How do you see this moment? I thank you, first of all, because technology, digital technology, has always been my passion. I'm really focused in trying to understand how it works. But once again, getting back to the digital acceleration, well, it goes without saying that the digital acceleration deals with all aspects of business in a very pervasive way, in a way. And I think we should also think about that. It's kind of an elephant in a room, what has already been mentioned, actually. Well, these virtual realities or metaverses or whatever we want to call them. And this is something that has been there for quite a long time. There was a One Life, a Second Life, Minecraft, and etc. And this has just been a technological issue, in my opinion. Now the time has come, and the time is ripe for the proliferation, dissemination of this way of expressing ourselves. And what is interesting here is to see how fashion has an important raison d'etre in this context. When we talk about clothing, and we try to figure it out as a spectrum. So we have functional aspects such as protection of ancestors against bad weather and storms, etc., up to constructive aspects, so the creation of our own personality and identity. So we don't have the functional part, but we have the expressive part, which is very present. So the challenge lies in our attempt to understand how real brands need to adapt themselves, on which characteristics they should work in order to be more suitable. When I took a look at the figure of Fortnite, it was born in 2017 and the turnover is 5 billion for digital furniture and things that make our world nicer. It's just about aesthetics. I mean, this is the same raison d'être of our company as our company has in our reality. And you could also sell something like that maybe as a CP company. Yes, so we are really attached to that. So this kind of ornaments, of embellishments are quite important for all of us. In Balenciaga on Fortner, for example, we had something that had quite a lot of eco, and the attention of the industry was drawn into this world. Very last question, made in Italy in the sports sector, can this exist? Is just an idea, utopia? I don't know. Well, I have a lot of respect for competitions in general, not just for Italian ones. So we have different ideas, actually. My father has always tried to make all his products democratic products. He has not really succeeded in doing that because things are quite expensive. He tried to manufacture where there were skills, high quality products, but also tried to keep costs low in order for the consumer to be able to buy it so that the price is affordable. Our positioning allows this only from a certain point of view. When it comes to luxury, etc., well, in that case, I would support him much better, but we can't afford this. Something curious, maybe. We have like 40% of made in Asia and in Eastern Europe, but my father tried to do made in China starting from the 70s, since at that time he came up with the idea of getting skills and know-how where this was available, but where we could optimize as far as costs are concerned. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Well done, and talk to you soon.